Mental health and disorders trump Second Amendment. NBC News. Headline: Cities sue Defense Department over failed gun checks after Texas massacre. By Associated Press. 3 large U.S. cities have filed a federal lawsuit against the Defense Department, saying many service members who are disqualified from gun ownership were not reported to the National Background Check System. New York City, San Francisco, and Philadelphia filed the lawsuit in Virginia. The cities argued the Defense Department failed to report significant numbers of disqualifying records to the FBI's National Background Check System for gun licensing and sales. That failure allowed a disgraced former Air Force member to buy a high-powered rifle and shoot 26 people to death November 5th in a Texas church. The New York Times. Headline: Trump says issue is mental health, not gun control. Mr. Trump weighed in from Asia hours after a man clad in black, wearing a ballistic vest and armed with a military-style rifle, mowed down parishioners in a small-town church in Texas, killing 26 and injuring many more. I think that mental health is your problem here, Mr. Trump told reporters at a news conference in Japan. We have a lot of mental health problems in our country, as do other countries. But this isn't a guns situation, Mr. Trump added. This is a mental health problem at the highest level. 26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelley allegedly shot and killed 26 people with a semi-automatic rifle. The Donald says this isn't a guns situation. That is an openly ridiculous statement. The Hill. Headline: Former GOP rep. Trump's mental health a grave conversation. This is a very grave conversation. It has been over 30 years since this nation had a conversation about whether or not our president was fit to serve. Former Representative David Jolly told host Nicole Wallace on MSNBC's Deadline White House. His remarks come after a new White House tell-all by Michael Wolff titled Fire and Fury inside the Trump White House claimed every White House staff questions the president's mental health. Trump tweeted in his defense that he is a very stable genius, further fueling the discussion. U.S. News and World Report. Headline: Excessive video gaming to be named mental disorder by WHO. The World Health Organization is adding an unexpected disorder to its list of mental health conditions in 2018. People who play excessive amount of video games could find themselves diagnosed with gaming disorder. The World Health Organization's beta draft of its upcoming 11th update of International Classification of Diseases characterizes gaming disorder as a pattern of persistent or recurrent gaming behavior. Additionally, a 2009 study found about 8% of people from 8 to 18 years old exhibited pathological patterns of play. The inclusion of gaming disorder in the ICD-11 means healthcare workers and doctors can now diagnose someone with the condition. The Atlantic. Headline: The gun control legislation that even Republicans like. The National Instant Criminal Background Check System, or NICS, relies on state and federal officials to report mental health and criminal conviction records that legally bar individuals from purchasing firearms. But those records don't always make it into the system. After a gunman killed 26 people in Sutherland Springs, Texas, the Air Force conceded that it failed to report the shooter's prior domestic violence conviction, an action that, if it had been taken, might have prevented the purchase of the firearms used in the shooting. The new legislation is intended to make sure that something like that never happens again. The legislation doesn't call for expanding restrictions on gun purchases. It's meant to stop people from buying guns when they were never supposed to be able to in the first place. people. That means Congress is creating new laws that require following laws already on the books. That's absolutely madcap until you come to comprehend. Mental health and disorders are terms of endearment between Republican and Democrat politicians when it comes to restricting the constitutional right to keep and bear arms. While President Trump calls himself a stable genius, former Republican Congressman David Jolly says the president's mental health is a grave conversation. The World Health Organization now classifies certain video gaming as a mental disorder. After 26-year-old Devin Patrick Kelley murders 26 people with a semi-automatic rifle in a Texas church, President Donald Trump says this isn't a guns situation. This is a mental health problem at the highest level. That is a ridiculous response to reports about a mass shooting that may be a mental health problem at the highest level.